Good evening, welcome participants. We will start it shortly. Good evening, Muthulakshmi madam. Our resource person, Dr. Karthika madam, has joined.
Hi, can you hear me?
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lakshmi. And thank you, Dr. Kanivnath. So I cannot see anyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am.
Okay,
You're audible.
great. Thank you so
So
much.
shall we start the session?
Yeah, but before that, I just would like to see if I can share the slides and then we can just go ahead at a
Yes, ma'am.
stretch. Is
Yeah,
that
sure, ma'am,
okay?
sure.
Yeah. Mm, so Zoom, I'm not very familiar with its technical stuff. So if I do share, is there anything that I should do here, like enabling, disabling something?
Yeah, we will
There
guide
is
you,
an
madam. If you
annotation
share
option,
now the
ma'am.
slides, we will
All right.
turn
Yeah,
off
I
the.
shared the slide. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm just making it full screen. Just let me know if it is full screen. Is it?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think there. Yeah. So it's full screen. And is it moving?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So
So now,
annotation, there is one option more. There you can turn off the annotation for all, except you. Nobody should write anything on the screen. Yesterday we
oh
faced
God.
it.
Right. So I go to more and then I can see transcript, breakout rooms, disable annotation for others, right?
Correct, correct, madam. That is
Oh,
the
great.
only enemy.
Yes.
Thank you. I did that. Now what? I should learn how to move forward because now it annotates on my screen, I guess. No, my screen is not moving. What to do for that? Can you help me? Drag to move. Drag what? Yes, I got the mouse. Zoom has made it a little complicated these days because the last time when I used it, it was quite plain. So many features now. Anyway, I'm good to go. So whenever you are okay to start with, yes, we can go ahead, Dr. Muthulakshmi. Thank you. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Sir, HODs and ADs is available.
Yeah, I'm checking. I think it's 7 already. I couldn't find anyone, so we can go ahead. They will join.
There are 166 participants here, so I think we can just go ahead.
Yesterday, it was more than 200 participants. So we are trying to have an overwhelming response every day.
Dr. Lakshmi, are we waiting for someone?
Yes, ma'am. We are waiting for HODs and assistant director, sir.
All
So
right.
they are about to join shortly.
Right. Is my audibility fine?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
All right. I hope all the participants can hear me because Preeti Kumari has written that I should increase my voice. Nah, not possible. Can't shout. Not very well. All right. I'll wait then. You just alert me when you're ready, okay?
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Dr. Muthulakshmi madam, did you talk to sir?
Okay, sir, I'll make a call to him.
Yeah. Madam, HOD sir has joined.
So, ma'am, sir will join with us shortly. So he has instructed me to start with the session. So we can very well start. Um, okay, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, madam, you are audible. You can continue.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So, good evening to one and all. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the second day of the Faculty Development Program on Gen Z Next Gen Educators, Elevating Classroom Communication through AI and EdTech. I am Dr. K. Muthulakshmi, and I will be the moderator for today's session. On behalf of the organizing committee, I extend a warm and respectful welcome to our esteemed dignitaries, faculty members, and participants, and who have joined with us. I take this opportunity to respectfully acknowledge the presence of our distinguished dignitaries, Dr. G. Srinivasulu Gaud, HOD2, and Dr. N. Raju, sir, HOD1, Dr. B. Kedarnath, Assistant Director. I also extend a cordial welcome to all faculty members and participants attending this FTP. Your enthusiastic participation truly enriches the academic spirit of this program. This faculty development program has been thoughtfully designed to address the evolving needs of Gen Z learners and the role of AI and educational technologies in enhancing classroom communication and teaching effectiveness. After an insightful and engaging first day, today's session promises to further deepen our understanding by blending pedagogical insights with contemporary academic practices. It is now my proud privilege to introduce today's resource person. We are honored to have with us Dr. V.K. Karthika ma'am, Assistant Professor of English, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, National Institute of Technology, NIT, Tiruchirappalli. So let me have a brief introduction about our resource person. Uh, So Dr. V. Karthika ma'am is an assistant professor of English in the Department of Humanities of Social Sciences at National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. She has her master's degree in TESOL studies from the University of Leeds, England, after a master's in English and comparative literature with first rank and gold medal from Pondicherry Central University, India. She completed her BA in English language and literature with second rank from Mahatma Gandhi University, India. She began her teaching career in England as an ESOL instructor and assessor for ESOL examinations. She earned her doctorate in English language education from the English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad, India. She serves as a reviewer for internationally renowned Scopus Index and UGC Care listed journals. She has presented her research in conferences of national and international repute in India and abroad. She has 33 published research articles, of which 20 are in Scopus, Web of Science, ABTC Index journals. She has published her work in the ELT Journal, Journal of Applied Learning and Teaching, Journal of Asia, TEFL, Higher Education for the Future, Radical Teacher, Journal of Poverty, Journal of Applied Research in Higher Education, etc. She is currently working on two projects, one funded by ICSSR and another in collaboration with Bridgewater State University. She has bagged several awards which include the prestigious Tetley and Lipton Scholarship from the University of Leeds, the Community Care Award for Teaching from Word of Grace Learning Centre, Leeds, England, Best Student Feedback Award from VIT, AP University, Amaravati, India, to name a few. She also serves as a member of NCERT's National Syllabus and Teaching Learning Material Committees curricular area group to develop syllabi and corresponding textbooks for National Education Policy 2020 implementation at secondary level directly under the aegis of the Ministry of Education, Government of India since July 2023. She has developed course books for Pondicherry Central University, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Regional Institute of Education, Bhopal, and Maulana Azad National Urdu University. She teaches linguistics, English language teaching, second language acquisition, translation studies, and critical discourse analysis to MA students and offers English for communication and professional ethics courses to the undergraduate students and guides PhD students at NIT Tiruchi. So with great respect and anticipation, I now invite Dr. V. Karthika to deliver her session. Ma'am, we are delighted to have you with us. The virtual dais is yours. You can proceed with the session, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muthulakshmi, for those warm words of welcome.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to personally thank Dr. Kanivnath for having me invited over for this program, and all the heads of the departments and their presence are duly acknowledged here. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, colleagues, for spending your evening with me. And as she said, much anticipation. Anticipation is the root of all evil, but I'm not sure how I'm going to cater to that anticipation. I'll try my best. So I'll start sharing the screen, and again, it goes with the same rules, I believe. We have to stop annotation. So let me just see how it goes. Yes. Dr. Muthulakshmi, please keep your mic open. So I didn't share the right screen, did I? No, I didn't.
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet. That's because the previous session is on, I believe. I'll just close the slides and start it again. Yeah. Give me a moment. I thought we will avoid
Sure.
all
You can take
delays
your
and
time,
just
ma'am.
kept it open.
We are eagerly waiting. You can take your time, no problem.
I told you, your anticipation is actually putting me under pressure. The point is that I was on sick leave today. I was not well, and I just got ready for this presentation, and I'm not sure how far I can speak, but I'll try my best. And from the chat box, I understand that I don't look sick at all. People were
Yeah.
very pleased to see.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. Let's see. And I should stop annotation, and that's from more. I need to figure out. No, it's already disabled. So I think we are good to go. Just let me know if
Yeah, it's visible, ma'am.
right. And the slides are moving, aren't they?
Yeah,
All right, great. So I'll take over. So if there is any kind of technical glitch or something, you can please ring me over the phone.
sure,
I've
ma'am.
put it
Sure,
on do not disturb, but you can just call me over WhatsApp and then I'll be able to respond.
sure, ma'am.
I'll keep the questions towards the end or concerns if you have anything. Participants, colleagues, please keep it towards the end so that we can have a discussion. I prefer a lecture mode because otherwise it might be slightly like difficult for the organizers to manage as well.
We
So
will have
yeah.
a separate question session at the end,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. I'll try
Yeah.
to finish it within that time.
Okay.
So I just modified the title, but capturing everything that was there as engaging Gen Z ESL learners in AI-powered languaging. So please do not think that this is a theory-ridden kind of session. Though there is a little bit of theory that I would speak in the beginning. But we will move towards something that I practice in my class. I started practicing in my class, something that I have done as part of some of my classroom-based research, something on my own and something like a co-teaching kind of stuff with my students, with my PhD students. So I extract some data from some of the published work of mine and my students, and some of the ongoing study that I'm doing at the moment. So two parts are there. One is about the technical stuff related to it, and then how can we as teachers engage the Gen Z learners in languaging. And when I talk about languaging, it's largely about the speaking part of it, because that's what I understood from the title that I was given. So we'll be largely looking at AI for speaking kind of a pedagogy. So that's the plan for the day. And I'll begin with a theoretical premise of post-humanism. So many of you who have got the kind of exposure to literary kind of studies would know what is posthumanism. And when we think about a world which is not anymore human-centered, but every single action of human beings is being monitored, is being moderated, is being continuously or dynamically being affected by technology and other human, non-human kind of elements. That is how the world progresses, and we call it a post-human kind of world. If you think it's a philosophy, it's a philosophy. If you think it's a theory, it's a theory. So when we consider humans, animals, nature, environment, technology, and everything as an assemblage, and everything in an entanglement, we are looking at the world in a post-human perspective. And when you think about education these days, and anytime, even if you think about the Gurukula system or Gurukula kind of tradition that we had, you would be looking at different kind of animate, inanimate objects coming in the learning process. So it's nothing so new to us when we think about posthumanism, and when we are discussing technology and artificial intelligence in our language classrooms or largely in the education spectrum, we are looking at it from a post-human perspective. So what as teachers we need to understand is that we are post-humans, the students are post-humans, we are in a post-human world where everything works as an entanglement. So just think about it. There is an interesting dissertation by Cook, and he argues that the teacher herself, even though she is a human being, she herself is kind of a cyborg. And that's a far-fetched kind of argument we can think about. But you think about it, all my entanglements with technology actually modifies me. So I have a 11-year-old girl with whom when I interact, she continuously talks about Gen Alpha, the kind of languages that they use, the kind of I mean languages actually. It's very different from the kind of language that I used to speak. Several words are like, including sus. I could understand that sus refers to suspicious, but there are several different words which are quite like Greek and Latin for me. So very difficult for me to decode. But when I talk to her and when I go to class, I understand that my communication with my BTech students become a little easier because several things that they tell me I can understand, or several things that they interact with I can easily decode. So I can say that in a sense, with my interaction with my 11-year-old girl, I mean, through the interaction with my 11-year-old girl, I have become a modified kind of human being when it comes to the languaging part of it. I hope it's clear. So every single thing that we come in contact somehow interpellates us, influences us, affects us, and then we become a modified person. So in that sense, the technological mediation in our life is really large, and therefore we are walking into an education system as post-humans, and to teach post-humans, we need to understand that. So that is a larger philosophical framework within which we now place education, not the humanism framework where we used to think that the human centeredness is the biggest or the most important kind of value that we need to adhere to. So no longer that, we create new ideas, we continuously modify certain ideas, new knowledge is being co-created. So it's not like the teacher is the purveyor of all knowledge. So the teacher brings in certain knowledge which gets continuously modified by through the interaction with the students who already are custodians of certain knowledge. So it contradicts the Locke philosophy of tabula rasa, which is like a blank slate. There is nothing like a blank slate. Everything is written over there. We need to understand that. So I have simplified it in this way. But if you read in posthumanism, you will understand that it talks about several different entanglements and several different flights, several different affective kind of assemblages and all. So now, when you think about a post-human classroom, you need to understand that there is distributed agency. And of course, there is a kind of non-human elements acting in our classroom, and there is collaborative kind of knowledge making that is happening. So when we think about distributed agency in a human-centered classroom or humanist kind of a classroom, the guru, the teacher, the trainer, was perceived as the person who is knowledgeable, as the person who can disseminate knowledge, and the others were always at the receiving end. But now, when you think about it, the digital kind of world, they're digital natives, we call them, right? And several different elements actively shape the kind of learning experience that the learners will have, the kind of teaching experience that we have as well. So the teacher's authority is no longer at the center. It's decentralized in a sense, and students have their own kind of autonomy. We cannot say that the learners have complete autonomy, because complete autonomy is something that we cannot really assure. So if the learner becomes completely autonomous, there is no need of a teacher, right? So I don't think there will be that redundancy of teacher even in the age of AI. There'll be some kind of human monitoring that is required. So I'm not saying that posthumanism refers to the dismantling of human agency. It's actually distributed agency that we are thinking about. So when we think about human centeredness, we are actually saying that everything else is negligible, everything else is incompetent, but human beings and their brains are the best. And we learn from a human teacher, and there is all other hierarchy coming alongside. Right. But when we think about a post-human classroom, the human-centeredness is dismantled. Similarly, the teacher's authoritarian position or that Hitleric kind of mode is also turned off, and students' knowledge is accepted and processed in the classroom. It's acknowledged. We understand that the students have learned through YouTube videos or through kind of video conferencing with somebody in Stanford University. So we understand that they have created certain knowledge, certain kind of schema within them, and we are actually dealing with it. Actually, it's a very dangerous word, but we are actually dealing with the knowledge system that exists within these Gen Z learners. We need to understand that. And they have their own kind of autonomy in the way they express things, the grading policies and dialogue. I don't say that grading policy is largely determined by the students, but if you think about my situation, we have course plans which we have to discuss in our classroom, and we need to internal assessments and all we need to discuss with the students, which was unthinkable during my time as a student. The teachers are the determiners, so the teachers come and say that this is what you have to do, and we never think think of questioning that decision. Do you understand? So that way, the agency is distributed now, and the role of non-human actors, it's not only about the technology part of it. Some of you who have attended my previous sessions would know this favorite story of mine from my ESOL classroom in England. One of my very good students, he was from Pakistan, and he was a migrated kind of person. Like he came as a spouse. He came on spouse visa, and he was illiterate in his language, but because he was in contact with other taxi drivers, he was a taxi driver, he was in touch with other taxi drivers and with his customers. His spoken English was pretty much like the Yorkshire English, with all the accent and other features embedded within. So he was pretty good in his language. So we had to push him to a different level. Others had spoken kind of test, and we video record it and send it to the home office. But this particular person, let's call him Najib for the sake of it. I call him different names at different points. So Najib was a very confident learner who had to write an exam. So he was sitting there, and the video recording will be on all the time during the examination. He had a few other people in the class as well. So we had these flap chairs, I don't know what they are called, but I call them flap chairs. There is a flap attached to the handle of the chair, and then they sit there and write the exam. So it was for 1.5 hours or 2 hours, something like that. He looked very upset about it, and at the end of it, he came out, and I asked him about the progress. I mean, how did you feel about it? It's a cakewalk for you. That's what I thought. But he said, no, this is a disaster. I'll have to pay again for the exam. I'll flunk. I said, what happened? And he said, I couldn't finish it. I said, how couldn't you finish the exam? How is that even possible? He said, I couldn't finish the exam because, you had given me a flap chair. This was the first time I was just meeting a post-human kind of environment, if I remember it right. I was like, what does it have to do with the fact that you were sitting on a flap chair and writing the exam, and it, ate away your time? He said, I am a genuine left-hander. And that made me freeze and think about it. You just think about it. He's a genuine left-hander. This is a flap chair, and which is technically designed for the right-hand enabled people. So he blamed the chair for failing in the exam, which I understand. Second thing, he had to pay a lot of money again for appearing for the exam. So his financial burden, his emotional burden, because he failed in the exam, and all the other technical difficulty with the visa transferring kind of thing, the delay in time, everything because of a flap chair. So you understand how non-human actors, that has nothing to do with technology, right? If you think in that AI or digital technology kind of thing, this is just an architectural piece, which is a flap chair. And it infiltrated into this entire paradigm of passing a particular test, which would fetch him the citizenship. So that's one moment when we can think about what kind of non-human elements are interpolating or are influencing our own kind of decisions in the classroom as teachers and our lives as learners. So they co-participate in knowledge creation, in knowledge dissemination, in understanding and other things. Then I skip the sustainability dialogues because that is not our focus today, though I'll come to it in a while. Just quickly. So when we think about the collaborative knowledge making, everything is in assemblages, okay? So the whole classroom is a network where several different assemblages, the learners, teachers, digital tools, the discussions that happens, the abstract way of thinking, the concrete things that they can touch in, everything comes in meaning making process. So it's more about collaborative kind of learning in a metaphorical sense as well as in a actual sense, where the students talk to each other, understand different perspectives, co-create meaning. So there is a co-creation of knowledge that is happening in your classroom, and then you can claim it as a post-human classroom. But these elements are very important, and we need to place the use of artificial intelligence in this paradigm because it's a clear case of technology use, and technology is used as an enabler rather than anything else. So I'll quickly go through this slide because we have mostly talked about everything that is there. So it doesn't remove the teacher, but redefines the role of the teacher as a facilitator within the larger ecosystem, which is determined by several different human and non-human participants in meaning making. So it's not just a tech enhanced kind of classroom or task oriented classroom, but it's an entangled kind of ecology of learning that we are looking at. It's not it's not a linear kind of thing, but it is very dynamic. And every time meaning is being made through human, non-human kind of interactions. New questions challenging us. I'm telling you, this is not old. We are just synthesizing it in a little different way in the post method period. That's it. And fluid boundaries. So there is no boundaries. It's borderless when it comes to the curriculum or the pedagogy that you would like to think through it. And as I said, decentralized kind of agency, always problematizing the human-centered assumptions in the classroom of something as the right. Okay, is this the right answer? There is always a chance to problematize that. So who decides what is right and what is wrong? There are several such questions that emerges in our, questions that emerge in our classrooms. And it focuses on fostering our critical awareness and relational thinking, matching with the post-humanist value. So if your classroom is conducive for all these things, you can call it a post-human classroom, where the borderless pedagogy always look at the interconnectedness with the space around us, and it asserts the co-creation of knowledge and holistic system thinking, technology mediation, and non-hierarchical kind of relationship. So yes, the teacher is always admired or always looked at as somebody who knows the know-how of everything. That assumption is still there, but I think for me it works in a very different way, because every time I go to the class, though I am the teacher, I understand that I have something to be taught by the learners, because they bring a different kind of knowledge to the classroom. Several things that they say might be quite new to me. I remember this manga revolution, which happened quite a few years ago, and the K culture that was there during the 2020 period. I mean, even now we are into that, but it was really a surprise for me that people started dressing up in a very different way. Students come in a very different way to the classroom. So it was puzzling me, but then through them, I learned what is K culture and all. So this knowledge transaction becomes so borderless. Where is your classroom beginning and where is your classroom ending is always a problematic question, or it's a very dynamic space that you teach in. So this is the kind of introduction that I would like to, I wanted to give you for as a theoretical kind of background. If somebody would like to do a kind of research about the use of AI in classroom, so through post-humanism, you can think about it. Now, quickly, we will go through the characteristics of Gen Z learners. They are technologically very fluent, better than most of us, I must say, and it's really difficult to be at par with them. I understand that. And then the pragmatism and collaboration, their pragmatic knowledge, the way they proceed with certain kind of interactions is very curious. And observing it, we'll get a lot of input about how the world is going to be in another 10 years time. And they actually prefer the collaborative kind of mode. Still, I have students who would say that I'll do it individually, but there is a lot more collaborative kind of culture that is coming up. And of course, shorter attention spans. A recent study told that when we swipe over the screen, the swiping time, it has come down from 2.30 minutes to 40 seconds. So it's such a shorter time, right? 40 seconds is nothing. Less than a minute we are spending. I think it might have been, even this is a 2023 study. So in 3 years time, that attention span might have been reduced, because we don't have, they don't pay that much attention. They just want to swipe through it. It's very difficult to capture their attention. And visual learning preferences. With COVID, everybody could access information across, and then it was never like conceived as a bane or anything. They could contact anybody. Many teachers were doing live sessions. Many FDPs like these were being live streamed. I can see that being written over there. So see, knowledge dissemination became so easy, and people started learning through seeing, actually. So visual learning preference is something that is very strong in the case of Gen Z learners, I felt, and it is proved through research as well. And desire for personalization. So when we talk about collaboration, this might sound like a little extreme, where they talk about the personalization bit as well, because they want to be at a customized space. They want to have a kind of one-on-one kind of conversation as well. At the same time, the pace should be controlled. So a lot of autonomy they would like to exercise in the way they learn. It's not about the product I'm talking about. It's about the process that is involved in learning. So in that sense, what should be the characteristics of Gen Z teaching? We have seen what are the features of Gen Z learners as such. Now let's look at the characteristics. It's not something new. I'm just synthesizing everything that comes through our experience. So when we think about it, the first point is about hybrid learning, where flexibility, autonomy, and collaboration becomes the central elements. So they can do see, for example, compared to completely online conferences, several people prefer a hybrid conference where some of the audience can attend. If they cannot make it to the venue, they can attend it, and some of the speakers can attend it online, but others will come to the spot and then attend it. So in person plus online. So this kind of a learning is actually preferred by them. So several of the students ask, can we have a video in our classroom? Can we go for something else? So they have a lot of say in that, and they prefer the hybrid mode of learning, which gives them flexibility, a little bit of autonomy in choosing what they want, and encourages a lot of collaboration between learners and learners and learners and teachers. So that is why they think that hybrid learning is actually empowering them. They do think that. And then we have this flipped classroom concept, where autonomous learning is again foregrounded, where applying and evaluating knowledge becomes the crux of it. So flipped classroom is not a new method. We've been talking about it since I don't know when. Ever since I went into the ESOL tract, I've been hearing about flipped classroom long ago. But not that I'm that old, but I'm just telling that at least 2-3 decades we've been hearing about flipped classroom, that everything should not happen in the classroom. You should just make the classroom borderless and leave the learning, let the learning happen outside as well, and synthesis should happen inside the classroom. Corrections and feedback should happen in the classroom, but largely the students go out and learn things. Many of you might be giving them assignments or kind of projects which will make you flip the classroom. Okay, so when it happens in a continuous pedagogic way, then it becomes a flipped classroom, where students learn, they come, we synthesize, we evaluate them, or we help them evaluate themselves and things like that. Another one is again project-based kind of learning, where critical thinking is a central skill that we will be looking at, and learning happens in real-world context. So real-world situations, see, for example, something that I give to my students is citizen journalism. I ask them to locate some problems in their real life and ask them to prepare a video reporting on it. So it has a little bit of hybrid learning, flipped classroom, project-based learning, everything together. And they really literally feel the importance of it, and they do it with a lot of dedication. I believe last semester they did it. In one of the previous semesters they did it. This time also they've agreed that they'll do it very enthusiastically. So much of learner engagement, if you think through it, you will find. Next is about personalized learning. Again, I've told you in the previous slide, we have to modify our teaching in such a way that there is personalized learning. So when we think about the personalized learning bit, we used to think about the one-on-one kind of pedagogic care that we give to each student. So yes, that is there, but it also has to be working on the principles of equity. And maybe the students would require a kind of customized learning plans. So I'm going to 2 different batches this semester, but their demands are very different. Some people want, one particular class wants something about research paper writing, because some of them are planning to do a research paper writing. And the other class, they don't want that because they perceive that this is the only class where they can have some entertainment element. So they would go for something like creative writing instead of a research writing bit. Because anyway, you are teaching us academic writing. Why should we focus more on? So you look at it, the same teacher, the same syllabus, but in two different classes, I have to plot it differently because I need to ensure that it's not about equality principle, it's about the equity principle that the personalized learning should work on. And there should be customized learning plans. And don't you think it's a little taxing for the teachers? It is. And we all do that. I know that all of you do that. Gamification is another thing. I'll show you one particular study that my student had conducted in the classroom, and we co-authored a paper on gamification in the post-human perspective. That's the theoretical background for that. And learner engagement is ensured because it's a choice that they make. Like we would like to go for that, and then instant feedback they get either from the teacher or from the peers, or even sometimes from the kind of technology that they interact with. So gamification is something that is characteristics of, one of the characteristics of Gen Z teaching. You can try that. And micro learning is another aspect of it, where short, clearly bounded kind of activities are implemented. You cannot run an activity. This is also something that I tried. I'll show you some samples from there. There was an activity which ran for a few hours, like a few classes, 4 classes of 2 hours each. So say around 6 to 8 hours. And I understood that the learner engagement was slightly difficult. To sustain the learner engagement, it was slightly difficult for me towards the end of it because, they prefer, again, the attention span is very important. The engagement span is very important because we are dealing with a very different generation. And I have no idea how compatible we are when it comes to Gen Alpha later. I seriously have no clue. So relevant and outcome oriented kind of themes and topics we need to align with when we think about the micro learning aspect of Gen Z teaching. So I hope it's clear to you the hybrid learning, flipped classroom bit, project based learning, and personalized learning, gamification, and micro learning aspects of as characteristics of Gen Z teaching. So we'll go forward. In that sense, what should be the AI powered languaging in our classroom? So this would have been a nice area for discussion, but in an online platform, it could be slightly challenging. So I'm just using the lecture mode and going ahead with it. So purposeful interaction between learners and AI systems to practice real world communication. So the word purposeful is very important, and learners and AI systems are practicing together. So again, they are collaborators. So a human collaborating with a non-human agent in purposefully interacting for being able to do a real world kind of communication. So that is called the AI powered languaging. AI can act here as a bridge, not as a replacement. So you shouldn't think that, okay, AI is being supported. There are several cases of AI being booked for suicide prompts and things like that, right? You must have heard what happened. So we can't say that it is replacing someone, or it is replacing as a conversation. It is replacing a human being as a conversation partner. Several people do that. Even I at some point had relied on ChatGPT to just talk to each other, just find whether I was making the right decision. It's not academic, it's very personal kind of thing. But this is quite damaging as well, I understand, because it always tries to please us, and that is not quite healthy for us. We need a human, and it doesn't mean that all humans are going to be quite, well in handling us in crisis, but that human discretion is very important. So it cannot be a replacement, but it acts only as a bridge. And simulated conversations, when we use in the classroom, that becomes an AI powered kind of communication, which I understand, role based dialogue. So you can use AI as, you can assign a role to AI and then use it as a dialogue interaction. Feedback driven interaction is also possible. So please understand the difference between role based dialogue and feedback driven interaction. In feedback driven interaction, the other person would assume the traditional role of a teacher as well. Other person in the sense, see, I have replaced AI as a person. So AI would act or would function as a person who is more enabled in language use. So the Vygotskian concept of more knowledgeable other, or MKO, comes into that bit. So when it is feedback driven interaction, role based dialogue, it works just like a native speaker. It acts as a native speaker, or it functions as a native speaker. But when it comes to feedback driven interaction, it's not just any native speaker, but a trained native speaker who can actually point out the strengths and weaknesses in your interaction. So that's very important. Then collaborative meaning making process. So certain things that I'm comfortable with, certain things that I disagree, there are ways in which meaning making can happen. So this is how we use AI powered languaging in our classroom for our pedagogic purpose. So the role, to sum it up, AI's role in the communication classroom will be as a conversation partner, a role play character. Just like, in my context, I would say that students should act as say, for example, in an interview panel, the person is an interviewer, and you should act as an interviewee, and let's see what happens. So that kind of an interaction partner. Audience or listener, sometimes it's a monologue, and you can command AI to be just a listener, and then maybe later a feedback provider. A reflective mirror, which is very dangerous. This is where we need to really monitor the students if we are using this in the classroom. So the prompting should be actually checked by the human teacher, because it could create different kind of, see, for example, that case which was reported, the person who wanted to commit suicide, AI was giving all the input, right? So I'm sure, I don't want to say that again, but it's very unfortunate that has happened. But that kind of a moderation, or that kind of a monitoring is quite required from the part of the teacher if AI is used as a reflective mirror. For that matter, in everything, but especially in this reflection part, the teacher should have some prompting kind of help offering to the students. So when we think about the immediate feedback loop, if we give access to the learner for a piece of information, they kind of assess the information, and they affirm. We can actually correct that input ourselves, and then the learner progresses. So when the learner progresses, the information which is known again will be implemented along with the corrections that we have given, and then they again assess that information, and this loop goes on and on in traditional teaching. And when it comes to AI mediated kind of knowledge, the same loop can be functional, but because of the personalized kind of one-on-one nature, the teacher may be redundant there. So there is a chance that certain unfortunate things can happen. So I think we as educators should step into this feedback loop, maybe adding one or two different points where we where we actually ask the students or raise their awareness in evaluating the kind of feedback that they get. So this is a cognitive process that you see here, but a teacher's presence here to make it metacognitive will define the kind of learning that happens, or the learning efficacy that is ensured with the help of AI integration. This metacognition, I stress, though I have not mentioned it in any part of the slides, is a very important thing. And if the students cannot reflect on what they are reflecting on, it could be quite damaging. So when it is about AI integration, I personally found using a little bit of, very explicit kind of awareness raising as an important point. So policies should be clear, prompts should be clear, there should be transparency, and the learners should have a set of reflective questions which will help them to think about the way they thought while using AI, or while using AI feedback. I hope I made sense here. And when we think about the flipped classroom that we talked about, there are certain things that the students do before and after. And during they apply key concepts with instructor feedback. But now what happens is that before the class they use AI. During the class, if they have access to the digital things, they use it. And even after that, they use it. So here again, when we are flipping the classroom, the reflection part is very important. So the teacher's feedback alone is insufficient or incompetent, might be the perception that the students might have. I'm not sure how they think, but several times they find in one particular study that I conducted and recently got published, like last week it came out. In that, I understood that the students actually perceived, several students perceived that AI gives very concrete, smart kind of feedback. The teacher might be pretty descriptive and might be repetitive, but AI gives very concrete feedback. But certain others were saying that, I mean, some others, quite a lot of other students were saying that, no, that is not how it works. We like the AI feedback, but the human feedback should follow that. Only then we can synthesize what is right and what is wrong. So this was a very interesting kind of takeaway I had from my previous semester's interaction with the students. So they perceive things differently. So now when we think about AI integration, this flipped classroom itself is very problematic because everything is already flipped. You give an assignment, they'll produce an AI generated assignment. So the policies, the awareness raising, everything has to be quite transparent in the classroom. Only to mention that and not to skip the metacognitive part, I kept this slide. This is nothing, I mean, this has nothing to do with the actual topic that we are discussing, but just a side thought. So now AI integration, I'm not using every single example here. I'm just moving to the next part of my, I mean, the second segment of my talk. So politeness and tone, turn taking and response kind of strategies to build them, clarifying meaning or meaning clarifications. These are largely, if you look at it, many of them are operating as discourse elements or strategic, pragmatic competence and things like that. Empathy, stance, persuasion, negotiation, asking follow-up questions. So these are some of the purposes for which I have used AI in my classroom. So largely for developing their pragmatic competence, you can see that. So how do we, integrate AI to develop these things is a big challenge actually, because one thing is about accessibility. I can say that because I have a very smart lab over here where students can come and use this. And even if it is not there, most of my students, if not everyone, I think everyone this semester has a very smartphone, in if I put very there. So they have all of them have smartphones and they have enabled different, I work with ChatGPT. I tried with ChatGPT, different studies I tried with ChatGPT and one with Gemini. But beyond that, my AI literacy is also not very great. I'm slowly developing it because without that competence, it's very difficult to survive in this ecology. So I'm trying to improve my idea of AI, different AI tools and all. But students are already very familiar with all of them. They know which one works very good for maths and which one works very good for physics, and which all things they should avoid and what all humanizers they should use if they are handing in a written piece. All of them are very smart. Still, we can find out the plagiarism bit and other things. I'm not talking about the writing part of it today. I'm looking at the kind of speech speaking pedagogy that we can develop in our classroom, by integrating certain things. And let me tell you, the rest of the information that I'm going to present here, it's all taken using ChatGPT. Taken in the sense not generated using ChatGPT, but based on ChatGPT. As I said, I was more comfortable with that thing. And our semester has just started. I started using it in the classroom with the students. So some of the responses which I could get, that's it. So I haven't used any other AI tools so far in the classroom other than ChatGPT and Gemini. You might have used several different tools, and you might have explored the potential of that in different in channeling the pedagogy in different ways. So in these 6 ones, I'm not picking all the things and showing you one activity each or anything. We'll just discuss the teacher's role and move towards it. So again, as I said, to recapitulate, the teacher is no longer a knowledge provider, but becomes a dialogue designer in the classroom. This is an important concept. So when you think about dialogue being designed by the teacher, so think about the kind of opportunities that we used to give in the classroom prior to the tech revolution. Think about the age before 2022. That is when we all started using ChatGPT. Before that, how did we design the dialogue? So think about a proper kind of role play that we would have given to the general English students or ESP students, whoever it is. I remember taking my students to a post office in England. They were all refugee women, and all of them had lots of traumatic experience and all. And I was taking them out of the institute to a nearby post office. It became a big trouble because this was the first time they were going out without their spouses. And I should say that they literally enjoyed it. They liked that kind of a women company, and me with my friend Ivana took them outside, and oh my God, they were so excited. And at the desk, they forgot what they had to ask, and we had made a complete ruckus over there because there were other customers who actually wanted to send a parcel. But with the permission of the postmaster, I just wanted to have a simulation. Like, they don't have anything to send, but they'll have a real life kind of plan. This really flunked. This didn't work out because of several affective dimensions, which made it really like flunk. So there I was becoming a dialogue designer. Here, the dialogue design is not only in my custody. I have to understand that whatever I say, they have a scaffolding that they are going to get. The Brunerian concept of scaffolding. They're going to get it from somewhere. And what is that somewhere? Some of the AI devices. Therefore, I need to construct the dialogue, construct the instruction, construct the task in my classroom in such a way that I acknowledge the fact that this non-human technology is going to influence or going to step into this entire task and modify the task and modify the performance of the students. Therefore, I need to accommodate that as well. This is a very difficult task. How are you going to design an assignment where you understand that they are anyway going to use AI, and that is going to enhance probably their output, but you need to design it in such a way that the actual learner output is being evaluated, or the actual learner process is being evaluated. And you need to acknowledge the presence of artificial intelligence in that loop. It's very challenging. You think about it, you will understand. You sit down with a piece of paper or with your laptop and think about a lesson plan using AI. It's very complicated. I understand that. Especially when you're doing a classroom research with AI. I find it very difficult these days. It's very challenging. You need to locate one particular AI that most of them will be using. And you need to ensure that that is the preferred kind of AI that they use and customize the entire thing based on that. It's a very challenging task. I understand. Other than that, the teacher is also a prompt architect, where the teacher has to go around and supervise the kind of prompting that is happening with the AI. There are several loopholes. There are several ways in which we can refashion the prompts that the students are giving to get them the better output. So difficult. And then interaction facilitator, where there is already an interaction partner there, which is one of the AI tools. Here, in my case, it's ChatGPT. And what am I doing? I'm just facilitating. I'm just guiding them to do a task and then go around and monitoring. And these are all time-taking, time-consuming kind of tasks. But again, the point is about the characteristics of the Gen Z learning. That is where we need to map our role with. So this is, I'll give you some examples of what I did in 2 semesters. This is something that I gave to my students about sustainability concerns. I told you in one of the slides that I'll come back to the sustainability concerns. When we are discussing post-human classrooms, we are discussing sustainability concerns as well, because that's also important, because if we are not focusing only on human beings, we have to look at the world around us, the ecology around us. Therefore, we will definitely step into the peace narratives or gender dynamics or ecology or oceanic stuff and all. Very interesting kind of turns we can take, especially when it comes to humanities. As teachers, we have all studied English language and literature, at least at the BA level. And you don't need to forget your literature taste, because you can bring in certain kind of literature into even the ESP classroom. I'm one person who successfully do that. I'm very proud about it. So you can actually do that in your classroom as well. So this was a comic building activity that I gave them. Based on these 2 papers were published as well. So they had to look at the climate action superheroes of United Nations, and they had to pick one fellow from there, whom they found very interesting, and then rename the person, give a different avatar. They could use AI if they want, or they could use any platforms for that matter, but the story should be original. They should build it as a collaborative kind of work. So one group had given me this. I just extracted some pages from there, not the entire comics. So I gave them 6 to 12 panels as the minimum limit for this thing. I mean, minimum and maximum kind of limit. So they did beautiful work on it. This is another one. So people chose small little themes, and this actually encouraged the kind of enthusiasm. I cannot say that they sustained that, because I didn't do a very delayed kind of discussion after finishing the study. I just gave them this task. It was for evaluation as well. I gave them the parameters, the rubrics very clearly before they started the assignment. I mean the work, and it was an in-class task. In 6 to 8 hours, they finished, all the groups finished this task, and it became very meaningful in a sense, because the learner engagement was pretty high, because it was challenging. It needed certain kind of autonomous actions from the part of the learners, a lot of collaboration, a lot of learning and unlearning that was happening, a lot of research that I wanted to do. So when I took the feedback about the activity, which was an anonymous feedback, most of the students were very positive about the use of technology and some different kind of assignment like this compared to the traditional writing assignments, or I used to give them photo essays and things like that. So better than that, they said that it's better than that, any of the previous assignments and all. So these things we can actually use in our classroom, and these are some of the other comics if we get time. I mean, some of the very interesting ones I put in. We'll see that later. Yeah, so this comics building activity was very useful for them in multiple ways. I'll tell you how after talking about this one. This is something that my student did. She collected data from 6 students who worked on storyboard. That was one platform that she used to that she asked the students to use. They created graphic panels, and they they just placed it in different positions, and it was a storytelling session. So whichever way the panels were placed, they were asked to make stories based on that. So the creativity was pretty high. They had to use a lot of vocabulary. As the panels change, the story grammar changes. So a lot of focus, attention, engagement, everything was visible in this particular activity. So when we synthesize the thing, you can see that it actually augmented the learner's agency and affect, and they were all active participants in the process. So as I said, higher kind of learner engagement and motivation was visible in these activities. I mean, both the activities. There was an increased motivation level, which I could see, because they were BTech students and they were so close to using technology for everything. And it gave them multiple points where they could evaluate their own performance in comparison with others. And the multiplicity of the task was another point, and the teacher's constant encouragement. So I was not standing there to see the final output. I was very much a participant in the process of them creating these stories. And speaking proficiency improvement was another thing. Their fluency was pretty much better, because initially they used to like stumble. So even for the comic building activity, there was a presentation based on that. So they narrated in the comic building presentation, they narrated how they came to that particular topic, and then how they synthesized the information, how they ironed out the problems that they had in their groups. And also at the end of it, when I took the feedback, they also mentioned that they learned not only to use the language in a smart way, or not only to use collaboration to be better in team building or team playing skills, but they also learn to unlearn certain kind of things. So they told me that the conflicts, the problem solving skills, these were the things that they focused on. They said that this activity gave them a lot of problem solving skills, because one is about the collaborative aspect. Somebody says a story, the other person doesn't like it, and they interact and they resolve the issues. Not only that, within the story narrative, just like how you craft a thriller, I'm a fan of thriller films. So when the thriller begins, I start finding problems. So where are the loopholes? Who will be the killer or who will be the murderer? I'll be thinking about it. Not only me, anybody would be. Just think about you reading Agatha Christie. You will definitely start predicting, okay, that might be the person, this might be the person, and then try to just piece together the jigsaw thing. We all try that. Here, the students were thinking about alternative endings, thinking about the possibility. That is why I said they did pretty much of research, even for a very small scale kind of story. So if they are looking at a water fairy or someone, then they look at different aspects of it. So environmental crisis, what could be the right thing to pick, and what could be the other things that should come along. So there was a lot of healthy discussion that was going on in the classroom. And I remember when I did the second round of it with another batch, where gender equity was the issue that they had to take. This one was climate action. The other one was gender equality. So when they did that, somebody wanted to go for a car racing person. So the car racing person, because it's a gender related theme, they wanted to make it a girl. And it shouldn't be just any girl or woman. It should be an Indian woman. So they asked the AI to generate the image of a car racer who is an Indian woman. And they gave some prompts. And when I went near them and I saw the prompt, when I saw the image, we all started laughing, because it showed a very fancy kind of car and a woman who is dressed up in a red silk sari with big jhumka and, what you call as gajra, the flowers, big necklace, jewelry pieces and all, the so-called, with all the beauty measures, very traditional looking Indian woman standing. So they started questioning, oh my God, AI is so biased. So when I said Indian woman, they perceived Indian woman as this. I didn't mean a sari clad Indian woman. I meant the color to be different, because they showed a Western lady with the white skin and other things, with different types of blonde hair and all. So I just meant Indian by, looking at the skin color. So I said, yeah, you think about it. And we had a beautiful discussion on how race and caste are looked at in our surroundings. And also this leads from one thing to the other. That is how I said, incorporating technology will actually operate as a kind of leading thing for having or being engaged in sustainability kind of concerns as well. It helps us because it helps us find different kind of sources as well very quickly, right? Earlier it is like library, you have to go to the library, look at the manual and then find it out and all. Nowadays everything is at your fingertips, you can just get the information. So it proficiently help us in figuring out certain solutions and problems and all. Even problems it will help us find out. So I think I diverted from there. So you need to understand that it encouraged their fluency in talking, in thinking as well. So they became very fluent in thinking, that I could understand. But I wouldn't claim that the language development was only because of this particular activity. They had a lot of interaction and all. But what I'm trying to say is that my focus was not just on the language development. My focus was on different type of communication skills that they should have, the different type of soft skills, critical thinking ability, problem solving skills, adaptation, collaboration, team building. There are several different aspects that I focused on in this particular activity, and alongside their fluency was fluency was better. And in the second experiment that my student had done in the classroom, it was quite traceable that their pre-test proficiency and their post-test proficiency varied, because they started speaking for a longer time with less pauses and fewer fillers. So that was something that she found in that study. Operationalize their higher order thinking skills during the activity, because it demanded some kind of problem solving and creative kind of thinking. And so therefore, we found that digital storytelling is a kind of pedagogical tool that can actually create a lot of learner engagement in the classroom, or increase the motivation factor in the classroom. So now we will look at some possible speaking activities. I still have time. I think I'm good in time now. So this is one sample, response expansion. I have used 5 activities I'll show you. I have not used everything. I have used some of them. You can also try using the same, or you can think about some other activities and use that with the students. But if you have a larger kind of classroom, it is very difficult, because when I tried it, it was really chaotic. And I could only go for a few students to get the data, to elicit the data. So to ensure the efficacy, either you need a team of teachers, if it is like a classroom like mine, 70 students in one classroom, then you need another person, or you will have to do it in a longer kind of I mean in a longer kind of class, which means by which I mean at least 2 hours and one single activity like this, and the students are doing it as a collaborative one. But again, that is quite doubtful, because if the students prefer a one-on-one kind of talk, it's again slightly challenging. So monitoring the students' responses and their engagement with AI is very difficult, especially if they are using their phones. There is a limit in which we just lean into their phones and all. So with computer screens in front, and with 1 or 2 co-teachers, it's easier. Otherwise, you will have to do it in small little units where you have the leverage of going around, monitoring, supervising, and giving comments and all. So take it with a pinch of salt when I say that. I found it to be very challenging in the classroom, but also I thought that it's good if they if some of them are mature enough to use it in a flipped situation as well. Some of them said that they are going to do that, but I'm not sure how far true it is. Let's see. So this is one problem that I found. What's your name? Mihir. Done. What's your name? Whatever. That's it. They don't even say that my name is so and so. So do you agree with this? Yes. They won't even say I agree. So this is one common problem that I face across different batches of students. I'm sure that you might be finding it as well. So I asked them to give a prompt, ask me to help you say this in 3 different ways. I mean, this is the AI prompt. So I said, you just ask them, just say that, help me to say this in 3 different ways. The I agree or so and so. So, just the case they have to mention very clearly. And then look at this. Yes, I agree with that. I agree, especially because it makes sense. I completely agree with you on this, and I feel the same way. Then they give us some for optional for practicing kind of thing. So you look at it, 3 natural ways to say I agree, and it gives the reasons as well, clear and neutral, good for informal or academic context, then adds a brief reason, keeps the conversation going, more engaged and conversational, shows alignment. So you look at these bracketed ones, whatever is written in the parenthesis one, that is where they are actually getting help from AI. It's not so if they copy just yes I agree with that, that doesn't showcase learning, or that doesn't record learning. What records learning is when they go through that parenthesis phrases and they process it. So for that we need to step in, is what I understood from my previous classroom experience. Very recently I started doing it, and it's not easy for us. Again, the technical problems are there, the pragmatic problems are there. We have to go to each student and see what are the prompts, and think about a classroom where everybody is speaking. It's really difficult. So you know how to enable the speaking thing on ChatGPT. I learned it and I started doing a little bit of conversation with it, and then I understood that it's quite useful in speaking practices, especially with the students who have a lot of inhibitions. So what I try to do is, whenever students come to me saying that I have problems with my speaking proficiency, I sit with them whenever I can, or and then have a conversation. This is what I used to do. But recently I started asking students to use this feature to talk about something that they are comfortable with. And again, the danger is that what is that comfortable thing is something that we have no control over. So if it is done in a conditioned, monitored environment, it's very useful. Again, there are so many buts, ifs, and other things which teachers have to be very careful about. And when you think about its pedagogic values, it encourages the extended speaking, not more, single single word kind of replays and all. And it keeps the cognitive load low. You don't have to remember a lot of things and then rehearse it just like that, but it gives you some time to go through whatever suggestions are given. So a kind of micro learning is happening there, and it allows iteration as well. They can try the variations of it. They can retry it and ask for help. Okay, is there anything wrong with it? See, one issue that I find in teaching them self introduction is that most of them are very proficient in English, but they don't know that myself so and so is a wrong expression. I cannot say that myself Kartika is wrong. Okay, it's just like a plus b the whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. We all know that, but why do we need that? Nobody knows. So just like that, I now know, but there was a period when I had no clue why do we need it. So just like that, they don't know why myself be coming there in the first place is wrong. First of all, they don't know that myself so and so is wrong expression. The second thing is that they don't know why it is wrong. So to identify why certain things are wrong, why certain things are more right, this AI interaction can be very beneficial. It gives that one-on-one kind of interaction. Their morale is protected. There are several things that can happen. When I say that, I have found it quite upsetting as well. When I address the common errors in language, I could not be able to do something is one mistake, right? And the moment I project it on the screen, certain students are becoming very nervous. This kind of nervousness and that affective kind of problem will not be there when they do it on one-on-one kind of situations. But again, how to do it is a challenging thing. Again, I tell you, I'm just experimenting with it. So the second activity is for tone, politeness, and other pragmatic features. So same message but different tones. So the prompts can be to say the same thing in different ways: formal, friendly, assertive, diplomatic. So I can give them a statement and ask them to look at the different ways in which they can say. So initially they do it on their own. Then the AI help or AI steps in and help them to compare tone shift, reflect on the pragmatic choices and all. So I'm afraid I won't be able to submit the assignment today due to prior commitments. And then the pragmatic features are mentioned. A friendly tone is given. I can't submit it today, but I'll definitely send it tomorrow. So you look at the reassuring follow-up and also they are going through the pragmatic loop of certain things. The assertive part comes in. Oh, okay. I didn't give the second page of it. So these are certain things that we can use in the classroom. So if you look at it, this is indirect kind of speaking. Whereas the first one was more or less direct kind of speaking. This can also be an indirect kind of speaking. You know what it is, right? When it comes to language testing, we can test speaking directly. That is like a viva voce or an interview or a monologue. You ask, give a topic and the person will speak on it and you evaluate. You literally listen to it and you evaluate. Whereas when it comes to indirect kind of testing, we can test it on paper as well. See, for example, a matching kind of thing. Men at work, what does it mean? So I know it's critical thinking as well, it's reading as well, it's writing as well. There are multiple skills, but largely it's about that men at work. What does it mean? Only men work, women do not work. People are working and you have to be careful. So that's about the pragmatic competence. I mean, the spoken kind of proficiency. Or go green, go out wearing green dresses, or go to a greenhouse, whatever. So you give different options and you ask them to match. Again, it comes to the speaking kind of thing and filling up exercises. My name is so and so, and I dash from England. In bracket, you give come. Use the right form. So there again, you are testing this grammar proficiency probably, but you also would test. And if the bracketed thing is not there, you are again giving a lot more chances for them to practice indirect speaking. Or you say that, okay, Paul and Alice are are neighbors and they have problems with the fencing. So create a conversation or write a conversation between Paul and Alice regarding this. So negotiate or argue. Give a context and you ask them to build a conversation. That becomes indirect kind of speaking. So if you look at here, it's not through speaking that they get it. They can also get it through chatting with ChatGPT. So I'm just presenting some possibilities. And then turn taking practice, stop me politely and add your point. So here the students will practice interrupting, entering into conversations without hurting the other person's, or with paying enough respect to the other person and all. So this is actually a speaking practice. They have to talk and the person can take turns and all. These are 3 activities that I did in the classroom. This is something that I need to do in the classroom now. So role play with AI, where interviewer, customer, supervisor, classmates in conflict, student speaks and AI responds. And this is a planned activity. I haven't done it yet. And then the next one is about simulating conversation breakdown. This will be very useful, I think, because it has to pretend that it has not understood anything. So you have to say that we are going to have a conversation and you need to pretend that you didn't understand. And the point is that I need to develop my 1, 2, 3, 4 skills. So to write this prompt, the teacher has to step in and help the students. And then maybe you can give a customized kind of prompt for every single student. If that is possible, that will be wonderful. Otherwise, you have to give some kind of a you remember the Gemini photo revolution that we had. One day I woke up and looked at my Facebook. All my students, most not here, the old students who still use Facebook. These days, my students don't use Facebook. They are on some other planets, Instagram or somewhere. I have no idea. I'm pretty old fashioned. And all my old students, they all looked alike. And I was like in blue and white blouse and blue sari, reading a book, with hair like this. I was like wondering what happened, why everybody is looking like this. And 30 minutes into scrolling down and up, I understood that this is the Gemini kind of photo generation thing. And then I found this interesting bit. To generate this photo, this is the prompt. You can simply copy it and paste it. And then there were Instagram videos or reels coming up and down, saying that this is the command that you can copy paste and do it. So that prompt has become a standardized kind of thing. And the prompt disasters also I've watched. I am sure that you have seen it as well. Very interesting ones. So what I'm trying to say is that the teacher can create a prompt that is standard to which the students can make certain changes and all, and use it for their own kind of purposes like this. The monitoring part becomes quite important there. So the teacher monitors prompts and responses and pauses at times, ask students to stop, go around, ask for certain things. And then also the teacher has the agency, still has got the agency to underscore certain good phrases. These are the words that are better in this context, the context sensitive words the teacher can give. Alternatives when necessary, just like how a thesaurus would work. And ensures that students practice, there is a mistake. Okay, ensures that students practice with AI, repeat the same task with partner. So it shouldn't stop with the teacher asking students to go ahead with the AI practice, but it should also be the classroom interaction should also focus on the teachers helping the students to do that interaction in person. There might be changes, right? So asking them to monitor those kind of human interaction and human AI interaction can also be very interesting for the students. So interaction effort, turn taking, repair attempts, and reflection should be the one that the teachers should assess if they want to assess this AI integrated teaching. So most of you might have a question, when AI comes in, how do we evaluate? There is no one single answer for that, but I wouldn't evaluate anything that is AI supported if the policy is not made clear in the beginning. So for that comic building task that I did, it was a graded activity, and I had informed all my students that you can use AI only for this purpose. And I monitored the entire task, and I understood that they have not. Along with that, there was a declaration as well saying that we have used AI only for 1, 2, 3 purposes, or 1 or 2 purposes. That's it. So the guidelines should be very clear. The policy should be very clear. And if there is a policy at the institution level, we need to adhere to that as well. But I don't think any institutions had come up with a policy yet. I'm not very sure. At least here, it's not very clearly spelled out. So in that sense, the teachers can actually look at the interaction effort the student is taking, the turns that the student is taking, how many turns the student had taken, and the repair attempts, the metacognitive part of it. So saying something wrong and going back and correcting it, just like how I did, ensures that students students practice with repeat the same task. So that kind of grammatical or vocabulary kind of corrections that we all will be doing in our life, you can look at that repair attempts. And then the reflection part of it. This is something that is very interesting for us teachers, where the reflection comes. So it's pretty metacognitive, and you need to give them a log for that, a reflection log. I even asked my PhD students to keep a reflection log in the sense a daily activity log kind of thing, where they think about what have I done for my research today. Several people don't do that. People who do that would definitely get benefited out of it. So reflection is an important part of our life. New year, new resolutions, I'm very sure about it. So we keeping a reflection log will definitely encourage and not encourage, definitely help us to build our professional development as well. So students can answer these questions. What did AI help me practice today? What became easier after practicing with AI? What was still difficult when speaking with humans? Because I told you that the teacher shouldn't, cap it up at that point where AI and the student will have a chat together. It should get a replication, it should get a kind of mimicking with another student. And then only they'll be able to understand the differences, the nuances of language, so on and so forth. The troubleshooting, because if the other person doesn't understand, you can't have a rehearsed speech, right? You can't speak back. That way you can't say, I mean, you can't stay without speaking for so long. The other person should equally be participating in it. You can't expect that kind of an ideal situation. You say something, the other person responds accurately, then you say it back. It's not like it's not like a machine, right? Humans are differently conditioned, differently programmed by whoever. So that actual human kind of touch must be provided to the students after their interaction with the AI device. This is what I think. Okay, as a teacher, this is what I observed in my classroom, and this is, as a researcher, this is what I understood from reading the literature on AI and human language. And what did humans do that AI did not? In that particular context, I'm not asking you to generalize it. This is not to prepare a paper or anything. This is just to help the students think through it. And each student's thinking trajectory will be very different. And which is one speaking strategy I want to try next time? Which is that one speaking strategy that I want to try next time? When should AI be used and when not? This is a larger kind of question. So when the students are able to reflect on it after every single activity, definitely with certain modifications to the questions, as I said, completely customized kind of a thing we need to think through. Activity based, student based, there are several different layers of customization that needs to be taken care of. So when the students think through this reflection log, they become more aware of the role that AI can take up in their life. In their student life generally as well. Last time when I did a study with them, I found that most of them were stating or reiterating the importance of institute coming up with a policy on AI use, because they think that if the teacher is asking to submit an assignment where the teacher gives an essay question and the student has to submit a 300 or 400 words long essay, most of them depend on AI and submit. And if the teacher is not paying attention to the AI part in it and ignores the creativity of the students who took pains to write it but with mistakes, then their grades suffer. So this grade based thinking was also part of the students. So reflection log and the teachers focus on the procedure rather than the product would help. The process of learning rather than the product of learning would help the assessment part of it. This is what I wanted to point out. And when you think about, I'm just winding it up, when you're thinking about a post-human speaking classroom, speaking in two different meanings there, it brings in two different meanings. You need to understand that it's an emergent, it's a dynamic kind of thing. It arises through the human AI kind of entanglements and individual competence to interactional kind of emergence it focuses on. Just like any other kind of interaction, but then you look at it, AI can work on your commands and function as you say. How much can you do that with another human being is a question, right? So that facility we can tap. And AI mediates speaking, but it does not replace it, as I said in the beginning. So all the AI tools like Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever can actually be mediators. And it can offer possibilities of rehearsal, iteration, and reduce kind of risk of morale being hurt, reconfiguring agency, but it never displaces the agency is something that we need to understand. And as I said, the vulnerability becomes pedagogically productive, something I don't know. I'm hesitant to say something, or I use the wrong construction like myself, so on. So, these things, if teachers spot, and then give a proper kind of prompt without hurting or without being the vulnerability visible to the entire classroom, which used to be a problem in the classroom, right? Because of the fear of making mistakes, students do not talk. Before, in front of the classroom, they don't want to be sounding like someone who does not know something, therefore they hide their doubts. So AI removes that possibility and translates vulnerability into productivity, because it gives a one-on-one kind of interactive space to clarify things. But the teacher's prompt engineering is very important there. And the agency of the teacher is quite dynamic. And again, it's not replaced. The assemblages and entanglements in the classroom are very crucial. The teacher, the student, the system, the entire environment, everything participates in meaning making is something that we need to understand. And the technological revolution has made it so possible that we can actually control certain aspect of it, and the uncontrollable ones, probably we shouldn't do it in the classroom. We should raise awareness of the positives or the potentials and the gains and the negatives to the students. And when we think about FDPs like this, we need to also understand. I told you that I'm not completely AI literate, but it also means that we are trying to be AI literate and preparing ourselves for the new generation kind of learning assemblages, where students bring in all their K cultures or whatever kind of cultures, their reverse reading habits or whatsoever, and we need to deal with that in the classroom. I don't find a better expression than that, because you can't address it as such in the class. You deal with it in the classroom in a very creative and meaningful way. And experimentation with artificial intelligence, whatever you do in the classroom as a diary, or what, even if it is a very minor kind of thing that you do with AI, it's important that you record it in the sense, if you can video record it, perfect. If you can audio record it, better. If you can actually write it down, at least whatever you have done, what worked for me, and finding a reflection protocol on your own, it means faculty development. Not just listening to me today, just sitting back with a cup of coffee, or maybe some of you might be having your dinner, whatever, doesn't culminate in faculty development. You need to actually document certain things, and conducting classroom action research is very important. I'm a person who does it, so I'm not preaching without practicing. So your teaching strategies can be developed, modified, fortified, if you are conducting classroom research, because it will continuously modify the teaching instinct into you. And it makes you a very smart teacher who can just understand the vibrance in the classroom, and the so-called vibes from the students, and process it in a learning oriented way, where they get benefited and you get benefited. Think about you publishing it, you get benefited, right? So you need to update your knowledge, or we need to update our knowledge and skills through continuous reading in the field. I don't know how long do you people spend in reading. We might say that, okay, there is a lot of administrative work at college or institute or university, and I don't get enough time to read. But at least something you need to read every single day. A little bit of researching, even if it is your classroom, you have to conduct a little bit of researching. Then possible, if it is possible, go for publishing and share the knowledge across various platforms. It's not about how smart you look every single day. That should be the topic of your cafeteria discussion. Sometimes you need to think about the different aspects as well. I might be sounding very boring and pep talking kind of a person, but I do this even over coffee cup kind of thing. I used to have very vibrant discussions with my colleagues at one point of time. I remember there were times that we used to never chat about academics as well. And there is a clear distinction between the days when I have very productive conversations with my students, or with some of my colleagues, somewhere online or over the phone. There is a contentment that I have, there is a kind of confidence that I have as a teacher, and as a researcher, that okay, I've done something meaningful. So that meaningfulness is something that we need to understand as faculty development, not getting certificates, or not spending time listening to somebody. So whatever I have told you today, I hope it makes some sense, and it would encourage you to try some of these activities, and many more that you can find out, many more meaningful ones. And I will be very happy to listen to some of them. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. I'm stopping sharing. Thank you.
Madam Muthulakshmi Madam. Dr. Muthulakshmi Madam, are you there? I'm
Thank you.
audible to you.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable, deep, insightful, and a very great, knowledgeable session today. So we have a lots of positive response from all the participants. A big applause a big appreciation from my side too.
Thank you.
So I have taken some notes from your session also. So for the whole session, I was here actually. So we are truly
I thought you
grateful.
vanished.
No. Sometimes, I just hidden my video, but I have taken really the keywords which I have taken really. We are truly grateful to you, ma'am, and highly enriching session. So you have, I think, reflected on post-human teaching, especially like focusing on hybrid learning, starting with a flipped classroom, gamification, micro learning. I'm going to get deep into that. Like you said, being a teacher, we need to have lots of research in classroom teaching learning process. So with this keywords, I'll keep everything in my mind. So micro learning, and then project based learning, AI powered languaging, so and so on. I think so. I have covered everything.
Thank you
If
so
not
much.
possible, I'll do it. You have given us a fresh perspective, especially on teaching and learning in the digital era. So definitely, we will be engaging the classroom session with the Gen Z tools that you have focused on today. And thank you, ma'am, for motivating us to embrace innovative pedagogical practices.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am. So now let us move on to the question answer session. So I request all the participants to type or text the questions in the chat box so that we can read it and we can go one by one. If possibly, we will try to cover, or else we will note out the questions and we will reflect on some other time. So I request all the participants to text the questions that they want to discuss with today's resource person.
Thank you so much, all the colleagues here. I've seen all the good words about it, and I'm very thankful to your comments. I know it takes time and energy to write something down, type something down, and I'm very grateful to all those. To all of you for listening to me carefully. I thought that I'll not have a lot of people, but still we have 257, which is a great number. Thank you so much for being here. Spending an evening like this is not, something simple. So thank you one and all. And if you have questions, I think Dr. Muthulakshmi, you can collect it and send it to me, and I can answer them. So if they don't want to talk right now, we can let them go because it's already 8:38. We have eaten into their time. So
okay.
Yeah, is it fine? Thank you so much for all the lovely words. Thank you so much. And please collect the questions if you can and share it with me. Yes. Okay. So it's already 8:38. I think I should also take some rest. I have managed to speak, you see. I thought I'll just, in between, I'll go off, I thought, but yeah, I managed to somehow. Great.
It's almost 1.5 hours.
Yeah, I managed because it's not easy to just sit up. I was just lying down all the day. My daughter was taking care of me. I never imagined that, I will be able to make it. Thank you so much.
You don't seem to be sick, ma'am. You're really spirited today.
That is just, somehow I have to just keep myself up. That's it. Thank you so
Really
much.
valuable
Yeah,
session.
please collate the queries or concerns, whatever. It will help me to develop as well. So I wish everyone the best, and congratulations to all the organizers for putting up this great FDP. And I hope you will have a meaningful learning for the rest of the days. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night, and see you sometime later. Happy New Year. Have a meaningful year ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I thank all the participants for patiently listening, and all the dignitaries for organizing such an wonderful session. And I request all the participants to come up with the next, we'll join together with the next FTP session that is on tomorrow with a new resource person and with a new topic, with a new insightful search on certain things. So thank you for all the participants. So have a nice day. Have a good night. Thank you.